the community and with the derogatory term Mias. My lords, it's very unfortunate because I am citing this particular three lines to say, he says, Mias in a pejorative firm responsible for high prices of vegetables in Guwahati issued a call for the state youth to come forward, take up job in order to clean Guwahati from Mias. My lords, I would ask myself, what do you mean by clean Guwahatis of Mias? That there is a consistent pattern here in making statements, observations against a given community throughout. And this is not something that's happening in the middle of the elections, as sometimes can be said, this is a part of the election fervor or something of the kind. No, there is a pattern here, there is a consistency here. And that particular pattern and that continuous statements made over a period of time against a particular community, I would say, go against the very framework of the preamble of the Constitution and the rights under the Constitution. So just give me 2 minutes. I'm not going to dilate. I'm going to be as fast as possible. Now, my lords, this was the first one, is dated 23rd June 2023. Now, would my lords may please turn to page number 61. The community and with the derogatory term Mias. My lords, it's very unfortunate because the word is used in a manner which otherwise may have been at one time used with some degree, but it's now given a color of a derogatory nature. And now he says he blames so-called quote unquote Mias for rocketing of vegetable prices. And this is a statement made on 16 July 2023. My lords, have page 61.
Yeah.
And if you would just turn over the page, this is an incitement at bottom of page 61 and top of 62. And I am citing this particular three lines to say that as a head of a state, as a chief minister of a state, or any person who occupies a position of power, responsibility, cannot make some remarks which can lead to a law and order issue or which will result in leading certain members of any other community to follow him and to take law into their own hands. So what does he say here? He says, Mias in a pejorative firm responsible for high prices of vegetables in Guwahati issued a call for the state youth to come forward, take up job in order to clean Guwahati from Mias. My lords, I would ask myself, what do you mean by clean Guwahatis of Mias? A remark of the leader which was termed as derisive. Now, my lords may please turn immediately to page number 64. Then there's a speaking statement that we don't need the Mia votes for 10 years. We are good with that. I will leave that. Let me go forward on this one. Would my lords now please turn to page number 84. This is now October of 2023. We are still in 2023. Then there's 24, there's 25, and the latest what my friends have read, I'm not going to read them all over again. So, my lords, in 2023, in the election campaign in Chhattisgarh, there is a huge amount of derogatory statements made against a particular community in Chhattisgarh. Please see page 85. Please see the fourth paragraph from bottom. In controversial speech. My lords, have that? Yes. In controversial speech in question, Sarma appealed to voters to remove Akbar, saying, if one Akbar comes, he brings 100 others. Ma Kaushalya ka bhumi apavitra ho jayega. My lords, we are inciting here a complete religious thing, which a chief minister cannot do in a secular country. At the end of the day, our preamble still has a secular provision. It's not that it has gone. In a secular country, one cannot use a religious ground either to invite vote or to put down any other religion. Then, my lords, he says we don't need Mia votes for 10 years. Now, it carries on. The next document, Election Commission gives him a notice, but my lords, nothing really has happened. If my lords will come a little bit forward, I won't show you many more of those in 2023. We can straight away now go to his statements in 2024. And what I'm trying to show is that there is a consistent pattern that is there in this thing to over the years only to denigrate a particular community. My lords may turn to page number 96. 18 July 2024. My lords, I have left some in between. I'm sure my lords have heard enough from my learned colleagues. There is no need to show. Now, this is on population business. Now, 18 July 2024, opposition parties in Assam on Thursday accused Chief Minister of diverting people's attention by pressing problems by making claim that Muslim population in the state has risen to 40%. Sarma claimed in Ranchi on Wednesday that Muslim population in Assam had increased to 40%, adding that demographic change is a big issue. This is his statement that he made in Chhattisgarh. I come from Assam and demographic change is a big issue for me. Muslim population in my state is 40% now, which was 12% in 51. It is not a political issue for me, but a matter of life and death. So, my lords, these are statements which are not supported by any material. They are not supported by any statistics, nothing. They are just made to incite and to make people act in a particular way. Then, my lords, please see, then the flood jihad, which Mr. Chandaruday Singh read in detail about that educational institution. So he encouraged people to go to an institution because it had a Bengali Muslim origin. An institution set up by a Bengali Muslim origin. So the students from Assam should not go, and the floods in Assam will stop if they did not go to that institution. My lords, I ask myself a question. If these are not incendiary, if they are not inciting people to act in a particular manner, what else are these particular speeches? How does a flood stop whether students go to a college or do not go to a college? So these are the kind of statements. Then, my lords, he goes on in 2024 again to say that going to an institution is like going to Mecca because it has a particular structure. My lords, the thing is, when he is questioned, now come to page 106, please, with me. In a meeting, he is questioned by a Muslim journalist, Shah Alam. My lords, have page 106?
Yes.
Sharma on Wednesday, August 21, derided Shah Alam, the reporter, for his religious identity over a question about raising and cutting of hills reported from Sarma's Jalukbari Assembly constituency. So, my lords, in the case of an educational institution, it was another constituency, another place where the institution had been built. When questioned about his own constituency by a Muslim reporter, this is what he says. CM rebuked the reporter over his religious identity after the reporter asked a question on hill cutting in his constituency, Jalukbari. Sarma asked him whether they, that is Muslims, will allow them, that is Hindus, to live in Assam, citing demographic change. Well, how does a journalist's religious identity have anything to do with his profession, or which is a part of his work, to ask a question of a chief minister? And because the reporter comes from a particular community, he is derided rather than to answer a question. So, my lords, this, if you would find 2024, next is 111, and it carries on. Others have been read in extensio. Then, my lords, the same thing happens in 2025. Similar statements, my lords, will find here at page number 113 in 2024. And then, my lords, here in 2026, which are completely vitriolic, if I may say so the least, at 116. And now, in 2026, there is a categorical campaign to trouble the Muslims so that they will face problems and they will leave the state. My lords, if this is not inciting, then what else, I would ask myself, would be the question. Because it's categorical statement: give them trouble, do not give them jobs, or do not pay them the fare which they are entitled to legitimately, we will do some mischief. Calls it within the ambit of law, but understands, recognizes that we will do some mischief. My lords, there's only one more that I wish to read, and I will not read further, and I'll come down to my legal proposition right away. Would my lords please turn to page number 124 of my compilation?
Yes.
Please come to the last paragraph in that. Let Congress abuse me. My lords, have that. 124, 125. Let Congress abuse me as much as they want. My job is to make Mia people suffer, he said, reiterating an earlier remark that BJP-led government would create utpad, disturbances. My lords, please come to page 125 to the second paragraph there. He added, whoever can give, my lords, mark the word whoever, can give trouble in any way, should give. He's inciting everyone and all from the state to go ahead and trouble the Muslim population in the state, including you. In rickshaw, if the fare is 5, give them 4. Only if they face troubles, now mark those words, they will leave Assam. These are not issues. So and so, my lords, will leave that. And then, my lords, when a complaint is filed against him, please turn to page number 128. I have already read his quotations on giving trouble to the community, but there is one more here at 128, which is earlier too. Sarma had said that his government, my lords may mark that word please, would continue to disturb the Mias and tame them down. Fellows, I would ask myself the question, what is the purport and intent of making these particular statements if that is not to incite? Now, on a very brief position that I place this matter on, my lords, I mean, it's carrying coal to Newcastle, but my lords, our preamble says that we are a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all its citizens, now I'm reading the ones which are relevant here, social, economic, justice, social, economic, and political, liberty of thought, expression, belief, faith, and worship. My lords, completely the fundamental right. And then, my lords, opportunity and equality of status of opportunity and promote amongst them all fraternity. My lords, I would put this that in the orders which my learned colleague Chandra Uday Singh just read, Shaheen Abdullah and Ashwini Kumar, these is the kind of order that I'm requesting and I'm praying my lords to issue. In Shaheen Abdullah, my lords have that order, and I think that compilation was passed on to my lords. The Supreme Court held thus, my lords, this is an order passed by Supreme Court on 21st October 2022. And if I may just read from Shaheen Abdullah, we feel that this court is charged with the duty to protect fundamental rights and to preserve the constitutional values and the secular democratic character of the nation, in particular, the rule of law. So having made that particular statement on a legal position, where in case of such speech is being made, the matter needs examination in some form of interim directions. The court issued notice and then it directed thus. Commissioner of Police, New Delhi, respondent so-and-so Uttarakhand, Uttar Pradesh, to file a report what action has been taken with regard to such acts as a subject matter of this writ petition within their jurisdiction. Then respondents 2 to 4 will ensure immediately, as and when any speech or any action takes place that attracts offenses such as 153A, 153B IPC, which of course will be now under the new code, suo moto action will be taken to register cases even if no complaint is forthcoming and proceed against the offenders in accordance with law. Respondent number 2 to 4 will therefore issue direction to their subordinates so that appropriate action in law will be taken at the earliest. So the Supreme Court passed these orders in the matter of hate speeches, just as the one that I'm reading to my lords just now. There is one other order of the Supreme Court, and I will only read the relevant portion. My lords, Ashwini Kumar Upadhyay versus Union of India, and that is an order of the Supreme Court dated 28th of April 2023. I take it, my lords, that my colleagues there have passed over a copy of that order. My lords have that. I'm grateful. Would my lords just look my lords, there's a very long post title. I mean, yeah, there are appearances running over 2 pages, etc. Please come to where the order of the court starts. My lords, please look at that. Look at the paragraph after leaving the first paragraph, the second paragraph of the order. Respondent number 9 to 36 will ensure that immediately, as and when any speech or action takes place which attracts offenses such as so and so, suo moto action will be taken to register. So the Supreme Court repeated what it had directed in Shaheen, and then respondent number 9 to 36 will therefore issue directions to their subordinate action so that appropriate action in law will be taken at the earliest. We make it clear that any hesitation to act in accordance with the direction will be viewed as a contempt of this court and appropriate action will be taken. Now, my lords, I take this next paragraph as very serious, this thing, directive, and that is the plank on which the Supreme Court issues these orders. We further make it clear that such action will be taken irrespective of religion that the maker of the speech or the person who commits such act profess. so that secular character of India, that is Bharat, as is envisaged by the preamble, is preserved and protected. My lords, I implore that, given the fact that we have a person who is a leader of a state, but without impunity, has been consistently making these kind of statements, and I have placed before my lords right since 2023. So therefore, the character of a person to make these kind of statements is now well established, and the statements are of the nature that incite a particular community to act in violence, in derogation of law and order against another community, which directly has an effect on law and order in a given state. My lords, these statements definitely are required to be viewed very seriously. I would request, my lords, that there must be a direction in the nature of Shaheen and in the nature of Ashwini Adhyay, as has been prayed, to register at least the FIRs. They are required to be registered, and necessary action is required to be taken. And in the interregnum, my lords, it will be my humble prayer to my lords that there must be a direction to the respondent to cease and desist from making such statements which will have an impact of having issues of law and order, violence, incite a young generation to think in a particular way which is not in keeping with our constitutional values or not in keeping with our constitutional morality. My lords, I rest my case on that.
In item in PIL number 15, let notice be issued. We have heard so and so. Let notice be issued to the respondents. Notice to respondents number 1 and 2 is accepted by any state council here.
Yes, sir.
Notice to respond number 1 is accepted by Mr. R.K.D. Chaudhary, learned Deputy Solicitor General. And notice to respond number 2 is accepted by M.S. R.B. Bora, learned advocate for the state. Let notice be issued to respond number 3 on steps being taken by the, you send a notice on steps being taken by the petitioner within a period of 2 weeks, both modes, returnable. We will fix a date, returnable. We'll see the date from the calendar. April.
No, then PL 14 also your lordships would.
Yes. We are proceeding from the backwards. I mean, the case which was because we have the files like this.
My lord.
In PIL number 14.
Look, at page 4 are the respondents.
Just a minute. Let's have that page.
Page 4. Page 3 are the petitioners. Page 4 are the respondents. Union of India, State of Assam, the Honorable Chief Minister, and the DG Director General.
So, notice to respond number 1 accepted by so and so, 2 by so and so, 3, 2 and 4, and for 3 again steps to be taken by you. Steps taken within 2 weeks, returnable. Both modes you'll issue notice.